Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today, things are about to get crazy because we are going to be taking a look at NoInputMixer by Igor Vasiliev. And you may need to leave your brain at the door for this one because it's out there. Oh yeah, we're going to do it all about now. Hello, welcome to the show. My name is Jade. This is How to App on iOS. This is my second stream for today, and guess what? Don't do this. It's crazy. We had a first stream this morning, and if you're watching that, if you just watched that, and maybe you might be watching this on the replay, and you're kind of lost on what's happening, but if you're here live, you know exactly what's happening. We just went over and watched an amazing cover of Hey Jude by Papa Tom Carraher and a whole cast of stars. And it was fantastic. JDL on vocals, Laurie on the keyboard. We had Mr. Smith in there. We had Hugh. I forget the name of the other guitarist. Somebody will put it in chat for me. Darth Vader was there. Pete Johns, Thomas Christ, Gladys Worthington. Even I made an appearance. It was a whole lot of fun. And, yeah, good stuff. So go over and see it if you haven't seen it, or go and watch the show previously to this to hit the link to go to it. I don't know. I can't keep up. Yeah. I forgot to mention in the previous show, welcome to our Wart Warriors. If you're a Wart Warrior, you get custom emojis there in the chat for you to play around with. If you are a Wart Warrior and haven't got a custom emoji, email me. Send me a photo of yourself with a blank background, and I will turn it into an emoji. If you are a Wart Warrior, email me. It's in the description of the channel. Send me a photo of yourself. I can't go and find everybody. There's only so much time in the day, yes, but you can click the join button for $1 below. And I want to thank all those who are Wart Warriors and those who support me on Patreon and all that and who are here on the channel. Let's say hello to everybody. Rockin' Pneumonia, Ed B. Metal, Barry Glenn, Thomas Christ, of course, Hugh Caldwell. We've got Papa Tom Carraher. We've got, who else do we have here? Brad Example is here as well. We've got Chad Freeman. Look, Chad Freeman's got his own emoji there. Look at that, sexy Chad Freeman. I try and change them up every few days. So, yeah, there's Tremor Bear is here as well. There's Pookie. What's going on, Pookie? And who else has come back? If you've come back, thank you, Greg O'Sullivan. What's happening, Greg? Yes, indeed. I think I've got most people who've doing my best. Joe Glenn, yeah. Rockin' Pneumonia, yeah, I'm doing okay. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Oh, this app. I'm just going to say it now. Igor Vasiliev is one of my favorite developers. Yeah, I've a good 5 I can count. I'm not going to say them and just have a list of favoritism, but Igor, or Igor, however you like to say it, is one of my favorite developers. Why? Because I love developers who create apps that challenge sound. Yeah, we can have a million synths and a million reverbs and delays, but there's some developers out there who just push the boundaries of sound design and are not afraid to be completely themselves, yeah, and just make stuff that is utterly interesting. And this is another one of those apps called NoInputMixer that we are looking at today. It's like all of Igor's apps, they're quite complex, but I'm going to do my best to try and explain it today. My best. Not all of it I'm going to get right because there's a lot. And I'll show you the manual. And when you see the manual, you'll understand my pain. It's a slog. It's a read. Let me tell you that. Whew. Man, I've got through the encyclopedia faster. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Today's featured artist is another really cool, experimental, cool artist by the name of Mars Capone. We'll wrap up the show with Mars Capone. I just felt it fitting that we go out with some of Mars's music today. He's an awesome supporter of the channel, awesome artist as well. Oh no, I'm being skull Brad. Thanks, Brad, for skull me. Ah, you're a delight. So we'll bounce over here just to mention these because we did it on the last show. The Beat community, it's a great place to go, a resource to get all information about not only iOS but desktop software. I suggest you do it. See, if I click on desktop over here, you can see all the new VSTs and plugins. It's super up to date. Lots of cool stuff. I really recommend this site. Then you've got samples and expansion packs. Most of this stuff's for like PC and Mac, all these great sounds and stuff, expansion packs. It's just so much stuff. You find out when things are on sale. Yeah. I know, too many shows, Pete. I know. But Audio Kits had an update, so this is all the latest news. Heaps of price drops as usual. Yeah. I'm not going to go too much into it, but let's just jump into this app today because it's full on. This is NoInputMixer by Igor Vasiliev. It is $15.99. And yeah, if you're into soundscapes, if you're into sound design and experimental music and sci-fi, horror, this is your app. This thing is so clever, so cool, and it takes technology that you would normally have to buy, analog technology, and it's now on an iPad. And this not only works on iOS, but if you buy this too, it will work on your Mac M1 and M2 chip Macs, yeah? So it is completely universal across all Apple devices. Lovely stuff. I love it when stuff is like that. And it is an AUV3, so you can load it. And it not only is it an AUV3 instrument, it is an effects rack as well. So you can open it as an effect and feed other sounds into it. But, hi Michael Songs, let me explain to you what no input mixing is, in case you don't know. So, no input mixing has been around for a little while. It is the concept of creating sound synthesis without using an instrument, but only using a mixing desk. So essentially, if you've got, say, an 8-track mixer, you would take the output of channel 1 of that mixer and feed it back into the input of its own channel, creating a feedback loop. And then within that feedback loop, you can sculpt that feedback into tones and sounds and create some absolutely crazy things. Surprisingly, this is a really, and I've been into this type of music for a very, very long time. Yeah. The kind of concept is that it kind of originated in Japan by a very famous artist who maybe most of you would not know of, but I'm an avid collector of his music because I'm into avant-garde extreme kind of music. Let me just explain this. So, no input mixing is a technique that allows you to create a range of electronic sounds using only a mixer and some cables. It is extremely useful for generating harsh tones that fit well with noise and industrial music. But it is also great for sounds which are inspired by science fiction and space. And I know for a fact, because I watched a documentary on this, the game Alien Isolation on, I think it's on PlayStation and Xbox and PC, a lot of the sounds that they created for some of the spaceship noises and stuff came from using no input mixing. Apart from all the other sounds which are pretty well known for alien sounds from the universe of movies that have been out over the years. The technique takes its name from the fact that the mixer requires no input. In fact, it is the most simple form of no input mixing is achieved by feeding the output of the mixer back into the input, thereby creating a feedback loop. So let's talk about the guy briefly who I first got into no input mixing, is Toshimiro Nakamura. He's an amazing improvisational kind of artist from Japan. You can find him on YouTube, and he's played with so many really cool avant-garde artists. He's got some albums out. They're on the Apple Music Store as well. Just look up Toshimiro Nakamura, and you'll find his stuff. Very minimalist. Feeding very minimalist guitars through these kind of no input mixers, and it's harsh at times but beautiful at other times. And so yeah, this guy started out playing rock and roll, but he was really well known for getting a no input mix board off the ground and connecting other mixers into other mixers. And yeah, there's videos of him doing this on heaps of them on YouTube. Super fascinating stuff. Played with a lot of freeform jazz artists, and just really out there and unique. The kind of stuff I freaking love. Yeah. So we're going to jump over here, and we're using it in AUM today. I've got a little project just to kick you off and hear some sounds. And you will notice over here, we've got the app I looked at in the previous show running, the DD TCT MCC, connected to a couple of these as well, and an LFO over here as well. And we've got 5 instances of this running. So let's shut me up and introduce each of these tracks and the kind of sounds that we're going to hear today. Sensational stuff. Man, I could get lost for hours in that. That is my thing. Yeah, that's my jam. To create something like that, and forget these bloody sleep apps where people like, pay for this thing to have rain and stuff. That is relaxing to me. So let's open it up and show you the various ways you can use it. Now you're going to have to pay very close attention today. It's complicated, but not really. Yeah. So I'll try and explain it the best I can. If I get a bit lost myself, go easy on me, but I will absolutely do my best. So I'm going to load up a version of it as a instrument. So we've loaded it up in here as an instrument. Plus, you can also load it as an effect. So we can put it in here as an effect. Let's search for it. NoInputMixer. So here it is as an effect. And when you open them, they look vastly different. So here it is as an instrument when you first open it. And when we open up as an effect, it is similar, yeah, but it operates completely different. So let's put something else in here. So we're going to put in another one of Igor's apps. We'll put in like Glitchscaper, which is another really, really cool app. And we'll get to that in a second. We'll feed the sound of this into this and create some interesting sounds. But let's jump over and have a look at this. So to start off with, I know, and it can be a little bit confusing to look at it, but it is in sections. So I'll try and break up the sections. This is essentially a 7-channel mixer. So you've got 7 channels, and over here to the left is channel 1, channel 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, each of these channels have a mute button. So you can see this is muted down here. So if I move to channel 2 and hit mute, it will mute down there as well. So now, so there's our channels. We've got a volume for each of these channels too. So you can bring up the volume of each of them and create a balance of sound upon your 7-channel mixing desk. Think of it as a mixing disc, yeah? So with your sliders. This section here with these 4 across the top, amp, EQ filter, and channel, these represent each channel. So just to give you an example, if on channel 1, I turn up the gain here, now when I bounce to channel 2, you'll see the gains back down there. So whatever channel you're on, these 4 little controls control whichever channel is selected. So again, we move through them and you can add all these. We'll cover all these knobs, what they do. The last 3 over here is the overall output. Yeah, so this is everything that's going out. So this EQ filter, and output. And let's start over here and go backwards. So we've got a level output. This is your overall level that is coming out. And you can see we've got no sound happening now because the volume over here is down. There's nothing coming through. Added to the top of this output is a reverb. And not only, so here's your little reverb here. You can turn this up. You can add this to the final part of your chain. And not only that, you get a massive selection of reverbs. And these just aren't like simple reverbs. These are beautiful shimmer reverbs, huge spacey galaxy kind of reverbs. You got like an Andromeda ocean. Like there's some effing crazy reverbs in here. And that is how you control the reverb. We'll turn that down for now. And you'll notice when I turn a knob, see how you get that nice big representation of the number there? So this happens for every single lever and knob that you move. You're going to get that representation. So you can see a nice big number for people like me who are utterly blind. But we'll turn down that for now. We have an EQ filter here. We've got a narrow filter and a wide filter. So, this is just your average filter. You'll hear how that works soon. Then we have a shelf. We've got a filter here with a shelf and a cutoff. And you can click these buttons to flick between them and you can see they change to a high pass and low pass, high, low shelf. Then down here we have a return, 2 returns. So if you've used a mixer before, you'll know that you have send buttons, send knobs, and return buttons. So you can send effects out. So you can add an effect to a channel, and you've got a return. And you can actually return these sounds back through. So not only can you send the frequency, the feedback back into each other, you can send effects back into each other as well with these two sends and returns. So this is your overall return. We have an effects down here. This controls the overall volume of the effects, which we'll get to. And there's a mute down the bottom here for this as well. So let's take a look at this section here, and we're going to start by creating a sound. So we are on channel 1 right now. It's selected, it's black. We've got no volume and no volume. So let's turn up the volume here. We shouldn't go too loud. Now, the key to this app, there's a couple of things you really need to remember, but to get the most out of this app is to move these, when we've got sound going, is to move all these things very slowly. You know, you don't want to just move them really quick, because we're working with feedback, and feedback is wild and it can get out of control and be very loud. So minor changes create really massive differences to the sounds. And if you go too fast as well, you're going to miss a very fascinating frequency that could just blow your mind. So the key is to move all these levers and knobs slowly. So we've got our level up. So this is our output. We know we're going to get sound out of there. We're on channel 1, and channel 1 here has a level as well. So let's bring this up. And you can hear this kind of just a little bit of white noise there. But we're not getting any sound coming through. So I'm going to introduce some noise. We're going to jump over here to this little noise knob. And we can bring in some white noise. So currently it's set to white noise. If we click the button underneath, we have an option of white, pink, brown, for all of those who love the brown noise, blue, and something really wonderful that you wouldn't get in an old school analog mixer is a Geiger. How cool is that? I love that. That's wicked. So we've got some noise here. There's our noise. Let's bring this down a little bit. So we've got some sound happening, right? But we want to actually create a feedback loop. How do we create a feedback loop? So this is where you need to pay attention. In this channel section, let's just take out this noise for now. In this channel section over here, there's a button. And this has a whole lot of options. So normally when you open it, it's always set to input left. And when I click on it, you'll see input left, input right, instrument pre-effects, instrument post-effects, mix left, mix right, send 1, send 2, return 1, return 2, and none. We're not going to get any sound into this until we choose one of these, instrument pre. What instrument pre and instrument post means is we're taking the lead, the guitar lead out the back, and feeding it out of the input back into itself. Let's do it now. Let's turn this down first. And I'm going to select instrument pre. And let's bring this volume up. All right. So we've got some feedback. Cool. As I said, gently does it. So we can see what's going on there. We're getting that noise back through. While we've got a light sound in there, you can just barely hear it. Let's talk about over here, the rest of this. So we've got an EQ filter, which will manipulate the sound. It's a filter. You can change this from a peak filter to a notch to a pass-through filter. Yeah. But over here, we've got an amp. right? So this is when you plug in a mic or a guitar, you have a preamp in a mixer. And you've got all these models of old preamps. So if I click through them, we're going to get different kind of sounds through. You can hear it changing with the type of preamp that we select. We've got a gain under here. Okay. And next to this, we've got our high and low shelf. You can see we start to manipulate these feedbacks. We can add some noise in. Cool. Let's bring that down a little bit. Under here we have a limiter, and we have a selection of different types of limiters that you can add to it, yeah? So again, much like our amp up the top here, we'll leave it on what it is, and when we mess with our limiter, watch what happens. Oh. Wicked. See, now we've got this mix of that low tone and that buzz in there. Again, small movements, and you just will land on this sound that is just like, what? Down here we've got a saturator pretty much, yeah? So we can go from a tube sat, and different sounds are going to be affected differently. We have a mute down the bottom, so we can mute the whole channel, and you see that mute up there because we're only on channel 1 at the moment, yeah? Good stuff. Okay, so we've created a sound. We've actually got something happening. Well, the beautiful thing is you can introduce another channel. Here's channel 2. We can bring up the volume of channel 2, but again, let's mute channel 1. Again, we've got volume up here on channel 2, but there's no sound. Why? We need to bring in some sound. So let's now bring channel 1 back in. Let's add some reverb. So we've added reverb now to the overall mix. Let's change this white noise up here to maybe a blue. Okay. We'll take that down for a second, give you a break from it. Let's jump over to the other views that are going on with this, yeah? So, as I said before, we've got our 7 channels down the side here, and every time you change between the channels, this section here, these 4 sections, they change with the channel selection. But you have another option here. You can click where it says single up the top here, and you will get an overall view of all 7 channels, yeah, plus your output. So this is just another view. So again, we can bring up the volumes from here. We can control the overall level and the reverb from here as well. We can introduce a brand new one. Let's introduce number 3. And again, we're going to need to select, let's select post effects this time. But what's cool is when you click up the top here, you get these other functions that were on the main page, like this, the limiter, the gain, oh, listen to that, it's crazy. Now you'll see, as we bring in the other tracks, they feed back into each other and they take over from each other. So you get these wild blends of sounds. So also from here, you have the ability to set up sends and returns from here as well too. But let's get out of this screen. So now you've seen this alternative screen. If we hit multi, it goes back to our single, which has our output and our individual tracks that we can click through. Single goes to our multi. But the last button on the list here is channel. And this gives us all of our effects. We've got 8 effects that we can add in here to these. And we've got, when you click on them, you've got a delay, flanger, chorus, tremolo, formant, bit crusher, and a glitch. So, I don't know, let's add in, say, a tremolo. See if we can get that happening. We turn up the rate, the vibrato, turn up the volume, but we need to send it somewhere, yeah? So here is, again, we need to, it's set to in non. So let's try sending it to the instrument. You should be able to hear that now. So the tremolo now is affecting all 3 channels. We can change the rate. So this is how we're getting movement in here. Or we can decide to send this to one of our send channels. Insert send 1. So now it's stopped. If we head back over now to channel 1 and bring in our send, if I'm doing this right. Am I doing it right? I can't remember. I don't think I am. Get it right. Oh, we need to go to an out to the return. So we're going into the send and out to the return. 1, send 1, out return. And now you can hear it. Affecting channel 1. Hear that? Now we've muted. Oh, hang on, where are we? But because channel 1 has as its send and return set, you're hearing it across the board here. Right, so let's stop this and explain a little clearer. So channel 3, you'll see, doesn't have a return turned up or a send turn up. So when I hit mute, unmute it. Oops, let's do it right, get it right. Mute these. And if I turn up the send on this and the return, you can hear our tremolo now coming through on channel 3. Let's mute channel 3 and go over to channel 2. We only have our return turned up, but now if I introduce the send, there's our tremolo effect. So essentially you can send the effects to individual channels, or you can send them to the overall mix, yeah, through the sends. So let's bring everything back in. Let's try adding another effect. Maybe a bit crusher. Turn it up, give it some volume, and let's send it to the overall mix. We've got a delay in here. We can add a delay. Let's add a glitch. And we'll send this to send to and return to. And we'll throw that on channel 1, return to. And there you can hear, we're getting these thumps, this glitchy. Hear that? Only happening on channel 1. Third person productions. So really crazy stuff, yeah? The potential to build up incredible drones is just, it's phenomenal, yeah? We'll run through some of the presets as well. Let's bounce around and show you some of the other buttons here. So up the top here, we have this app button. When you click on this, this takes you to your settings, and you've got a whole bunch of settings in here. This one's really handy. I love this one. So restore last state when load audio unit. So you can tick this, and now every time you open this app in an AUV3, no matter what it is, if you open it in AUM and shut it down, 10 days later, you open it up in Logic, it's going to remember the exact save state that you had. Super clever stuff. We've got display channel numbers for the slots, alternative interface. So let's check out the alternative interface, because this is a cool one as well. If I tick this and now close, we have a completely different interface here. Instead of having did that work? Yes. Instead, you'll notice down here on our little panel, we've got all these different sliders. So we've been replaced with an effect, effect 1 and effect 8 and an output level. So we've been given a totally different set of options here. So whatever effect is attached to that specific channel, you can now get to here. So you have, and I know you're probably looking at it going, but it all looks the same. And it can be a bit overwhelming because this is a scientific project to me. It is. It is a scientific project. So, but you do have this alternate interface that you can mess around with. You can disable pop-up values. So if you don't like that number, that big number popping up in the top corner, you can turn that off. You can show and hide user presets and stuff. Show favorite presets, disable and confirm. So if you want to disable the confirm thing to confirm saving, that warning that says, are you sure you want to save? You can turn that off as well. We have a whole lot of MIDI options in here as well. You can actually go in and MIDI learn any of the settings to a controller, to a keyboard controller that has knobs on it, actual real world knobs. And you can click on these and hit the learn up here and then say turn a knob. I don't even have a keyboard selected. Let me show you that quickly. Let's go up here and connect my Arturia. Yeah. So I can give you a goosey gander at that. So let's bounce over here. So I can now, it's set to MIDI learn. If I turn, see that? How I turn the knob and now it says active. So that particular thing now is now controlled by this knob. So you have the power to, you can see it's changing every time there. But yeah, you have the power to connect all of this up to a keyboard and control it all with real world stuff. If you want to reset it, you don't like doing that, you just hit reset and it remains unassigned. Yeah, you can put in CC values yourself and then put in the numbers. So CC13, you can do all of that stuff. Very nice. You have this second section here of MIDI. So in here we have MIDI controls change values in scaling mode, MIDI controls change values in pickup mode, a wide area of catching values for pickup. We're not going to cover too much of this. And you can set this up to an audio unit host and all that stuff. So you can run this as a standalone as well. Files. I don't even know what files are. I haven't looked into it because I just didn't have enough time. I'm expecting you can import saved Bizzos. I'm expecting it. That's what it is. Yeah. So I hope so. If not, I'll I'm lying. Oh, man. Okay, so let's quickly cover something else in here before we jump over to presets and stuff. Now, you'll remember at the very beginning, the two most important things I said to be able to start a brand new tone is you have to put up your output volume and you have to put up the channel's volume. But most importantly, you need to choose either a pre or a post. So the pre-instrument adds the effect before the instrument and the post adds the effect afterwards. So messing around with this as well, let's mute these, we'll get different kind of sounds. But let's screw this sound for now because you've got other options. You can take the mix, the overall mix of all of these and then feed that back in. So now you hear how that sound changed? Whoa! Listen to that moving. And each of these has a left and right, like an interface, like a mixer. So we've got a right here. You can take the sound from the send. So now we're taking the effect from send 1 and looping that back into channel 1. And again, it's going to yield totally different results. you can send the return in. Return 2, you could send return 1. And now we're getting that tremolo effect, because the tremolo effect, so we've currently got this tremolo being sent to our return 1, right? And now return 1 is sending the effect back into itself. It's crazy. Let's bring the other tracks in. So the options are aplenty. And to kill it, just bring down the overall volume. That's going to kill everything, yeah? All right, let's run through some of the presets that are in here and how to save your own presets. And then we'll have a look at it as an effect and show you how to run another instrument through this and then send that back through itself. Because you can send... You can get batshit crazy with this. So if you click up the top here, this is where you'll find your presets. If you click it once, you'll find all of your presets here that you can go through. Let's close this. If you click this twice, you get a little window pop up. So you've got 2 ways to go through your presets. Click off. You can set favorites. So I can select this and set it as a favorite, and that's moved it to my favorites group, right? So now when I click on favorites, when I click on here, you'll see where are my favorites? I don't even know where it's gone. Favorite. That's moved to favorites, my knit patches. If you click on, here you go. So here's where you do it. Close this. When you click on your presets, you'll see factory and all the presets. When you click on factory, this is where your favorites get stored. There they are. If you go back, these are where you, and when you save your own things. So if I want to save my own thing, let's go in back here. Do this again. So let's just choose a sound. Now, when you choose a preset, you have to set it. So there's a little set button up here. Once you set it, it says preset applied, and this is your new preset that you've created. If I want to go in here, of course, I need to turn up the volume to hear what this preset is. Now, if I make some changes to this, I can now click up here and I want to save it. So what I do is hit new, and then I hit, am I doing it right? Yeah, new, there we go. And I've now got a factory preset saved, and I can rename it to whatever I want. And call it Doom or whatever, Drone Doom. And that is where your saved patches go here in factory, right? Sorry, if I click factory, so you can see all your presets there. Cool. You can export your sounds, so you can hit export. You can create new groups. You can move things around, rename, you can delete them, all that kind of good stuff. But let's have a look at these presets. Let's go through them. So a lot of them are actually things like this, where you need to give them volume to get some sound happening. Really cool stuff, man. And I'm just introducing the tracks one by one, turning up the volume. So much fun. You can see what effects are turned on by hitting the channel up here. So you can see we've got all choruses for this. I might want to change one of these out to a tremolo. Hear that bit crusher has instantly changed one of those, the overall tone. So this is just our first one. So again, you click on your preset, hit set. And again, you need to introduce the volume. So also remember, not only can you just use, the effects to kind of animate these things and get them to create movement, you also have the ability to add in an LFO, yeah? So if we just go and add in an LFO, like Rosetta, jump in here, connect our LFO, and then we can go through all these things here. Like we can choose number 4 input, and say mess with the level. Turn this on. From my memory, an LFO on here is 13. Maybe. I think I've got to connect. Did I select the right thing? I don't know. What was it? Input 4. Do I have input 4 on? Yes. Get it right, Jade. You dickhead. Input 4. Oh, I've got to hit play. That's why. So now we are animating the volume of channel 4. Which we need to give some sound to. Yeah? So the possibilities are endless. Modulating this stuff, getting really dirt shit crazy with it. Let's turn off the modulation. Try one of our other sounds in here. And these presets are great to start building stuff for yourself, yeah? So we've gone through some presets, but there are a whole bunch of drones in here. Let's go through some drones. Now, when you click on a drone, they will automatically have their volumes up. And you'll already have a drone, a crazy drone happening. Some of the drones in here are sick. Let's check out the next one. This is called the Geiger machine. So all of these have the Geiger selected. Let's add white noise to this one, just for fun. We'll put a tone in here as well. We'll bring in an input. Give it some body. This is JHHL Hummery. So while we've got a soundscape happening here, let's talk about using it as an effect. So we'll turn that off for now. So as I said, you can run this now, not only by itself as an instrument, you can run this through as an effect. Let's throw in something like, we'll use Zoa to generate some guitar. Like so. We're going to bring in, we'll use Piano Tech and their soft classical guitar. We'll connect Zoa up here. let's change this. We're going to change the timing of this to a golden hole. We'll bring down these notes a bit by an octave. And let's add an instance. Hi, Lady Campion. We'll add an instance of NoInputMixer as an effect. Now, you see, as I've added this, the sound stopped. So it's dead in its tracks. Why? Because we need to go and turn up our volume here. So there's our volume, but we're still not getting any sound through. Now, this is connected to the right instrument. So remember, when we're creating an instrument, we start from here down, yeah? So we start with an instrument pre or instrument post. When we're using an input, say we're using some other instrument being fed in, we choose input L or input R. So now if I bring up the sound, there's our guitar. We can start adding effects to this. And then we can introduce, say, another channel. And start building on this and then feeding things back into each other. In fact, let's take the mix of the guitar and feed that back in to channel 2. Let in a chorus. So within the effects as well, we have the option to change this to currently we're using high resolution. We can turn this into a lo-fi effect. So now that chorus is gritty. Wicked. Let's add another channel. And now we're taking in the guitar into the right channel. Let's bring in our previous track. And we've also got Glitchscaper waiting here to be added in as well. So let's choose something from Glitchscaper, like a broken space and time. See you later, Barry. See you, Joe. Have a good night. So now we've got Glitchscaper. Let's take out the effect. Here it is by itself. Here we are now going through NoInputMixer. We're going to fuck around with some sound here. Bring in a bit crusher. And here we have quite a unique little mellow drone with a guitar running everything. And that's just going to do its thing. It's going to continue to evolve. And do interesting things. Now we can go in here and change to a different drone if we want. Let's try a different drone. Pete says, hey party peeps, sorry I haven't been able to hang out much on this, only because I just recorded the video that brings my drums into his song Timber Song. I hope it worked out, Pete. I hope the drums are okay. Well, there you go. He thinks they're epic, so job done. Next, guys, I've got to work on Joe and Barry Glenn's drums and then finish my song. Awesome, Pete. Let's choose another drone. We'll do a couple of more of these and then we'll get the hell out of here. These drones are just beautiful. We'll change this to a piano, shall we? What have we got? An event horizon? Wow. The other thing too is you can even feed this instrument into another no input mixer and really lose your mind. All right. I hope that within all of that, I kind of explained it to some kind of way that you understood what was going on there. I know there's a lot to take in with it, and it's a very avant-garde, very experimental app. It's not going to be for everybody. Absolutely, I know that. But again, like I said, I really love apps that take music and push the boundaries, take sound and sound manipulation to another place, because not everything is sunshine and lollipops, and there's people out there with specific tastes, and I'm one of these people into experimental sounds and creating soundscapes and stuff, and this is just a beautiful app. It, as I said in the beginning, this takes an old analog little mixer and allows you to do it with software. Super simple, and just using feedback or putting your own sounds through. The sky's the limit really with it. You can create, just use your imagination and create some crazy, crazy stuff. Igor Vasiliev has knocked it out the park like he does all the time. This is just an incredible app in my opinion. Is it for you? That's up to you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You got to do what works for you, because apps aren't Pokemon. You don't need to collect them all, just the ones that you feel will help you make the kind of music that you like making. So again, NoInputMixer is $15.99 on the App Store. Not only does it work on your iOS devices, iPhone, iPad, it works on your Mac M1 and M2 computers. So it's totally universal if you have an M1 or M2 Mac computer. Great stuff. I really love it. If you are a Patreon of mine, I've got some copies to give away. So I'll be putting that up. If you would like a copy, enter the comp as we do each week on Le Patreon. Once again, we'll cover a couple of things before we go. Tomorrow is a really big day for me here on the channel. We have an amazing person coming on the show. We have Gert Bevan from Moog Music coming on the show. The man who is the lead software designer of Moog Music, who creates all the apps and software, replicating analog software onto our computers for us. And amongst many other things, this dude's involved in the MIDI world, the actual MIDI board. He is involved in MPE certification, all this kind of stuff. It is just nuts. And he's an amazing musician as well. But overall, he's a really nice dude. So we're going to spend some time with him tomorrow. I know he's a bit sick, so he's got the flu, unfortunately. So he's going to be doing his best. But I'm so stoked to have him come on the show. And just to wrap up, on Friday, we got something crazy. So if you want to come and see me make a total ass of myself, please come along and watch me review Music Kraken, because this thing's nuts. You can control it with your face, your body. You can map your body and dance and be a living drummer. And I'm going to have cameras set up everywhere, dancing around like an idiot, controlling synthesizers and drums by mapping the features of my body. So you won't want to miss this. I've been wanting to do a show on this app for way over a year, and I finally have the guts to do it. So we're going to do that. Also, all right, let's play today's featured artist. Another artist who creates quite unique experimental music by the name of Mars Capone. This is Countertransference, a really cool track. I'm going to leave you with this. Check out Pete's video that he's about to drop with me doing drums. Oh yeah, I forgot too that Gert does Kung Fu. So you won't want to miss that. You get chopped, man. Thanks, Brad, for letting me know about that.
Yeah, right on. Thank you for doing that.
No problem, Brad. This is Mars Capone. Counter-transference. Do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. And we'll all rise together. Boom.
'cause you make me shine better.